there is this idea that you cannot elevate the citizens living in it without beauty. We talk about the quality of the cheese seller we have in our neighborhood. We talk about the quality of the baguette we have eaten. We have a competition every year for baguette in Paris, a competition for croissant. There is like maybe 20 or 30 articles like this on the bakery.
We are the most visited country in the world.
Welcome to À la Française, the podcast that shines a light on the French art of living and those who shape it. So Ferit, thank you to be here. I'd like to know a little bit about your background first. So tell us about your heritage, your dual background from your mother and your father. You have a dual education from Turkey and France. Tell us about it.
So my dad is Turkish, my mom is French, typical Parisian couple, mixed couple. My dad comes from these families with like not too many people. We are like maybe 10 of us bearing our names. Uh-huh. And so like he came to France on a boat, you know, like an old boat, like a crossing from Istanbul, Greece, going all the way, and landed in Marseille, and studied medicine in the country. Because at the time, and I think still today, like France was the best country to study medicine. And he met my mom when they were already like in their 30s. So my mom is from Normandy. We are like 20 miles, 30 kilometers away from Utah Beach. So it's like not too far from the D-Day landings. It's like, you know, typical Catholic family from France that had the chance to have antibiotics. So I have 10 uncles and aunts. We have 47 cousins. I'm the last one of my generation. It's a big family, big like, you know, typical farmers-like family in the countryside of France. For a family meeting, we kill 1 or 2 sheep and we meet in the salle des fêtes.
So your job drives you to meet people every day from anywhere in the world. How come these people come so numerous to France, and what brings them to France? What is their dream of France when they come to visit and take a tour with you?
We have a city that transformed itself. And there is something in Paris that makes it very special. When we rebuilt it, there is this idea that you cannot elevate the citizens living in it, you know, just after the French Revolution, without beauty. And this is something that when I travel, I don't meet necessarily a beautiful city. I think we can have an amazing talk with the philosophers you are going to have on this podcast, because there is this idea of the ville musée. Yet, yes, a ville musée, there is when you travel to other countries and you just go from concrete, having beautiful ironwork and limestones elevates you in another way, because you can see how much care a craftsman has given to the work of what's going to be seen every day by everyone in the streets. And this is the beauty of Paris. Drags people. It has driven minds to come and live here. And you have these amazing effervescence. It's like, you know, the sparkling, like in champagne, of all of these colliding bubbles, you know, between art designers, fashion designers, between like the food itself.
So that's interesting, the link you're doing between the architecture and the history.
The truth is that there is a quest of beauty, a quest that is not, nothing is really useful in a way. So if your quest is to find beauty, yes, fashion is important in that case. So Paris, all of a sudden, with its architecture, provides a runway everywhere in town. Look at the Opera of Paris, designed by Charles Garnier, were in 1860s, 1869, 1876, something like this. And half of the opera is the grand staircase, and there is as many balconies for you to admire, top down, all of these beautiful models that will start to wear some of the oldest fashion houses like Worth, Paquin, and so on, Doucet and over, like the first fashion houses, so to speak. There was no fashion designers before them. And it's like, it's beautiful for that. You go to Galeries Lafayette just nearby. You have got, when they rebuilt it afterwards, you know, they wanted to match the beauty you have got in the opera. It becomes itself an opera for fashion and design. And into a smaller scale, you, me, walking in the street, we are, I mean, as Shakespeare said it, you know, the world is a stage. Well, you're walking in the street and you have this perfect runway for you. You walk in there and you sit at the terrace of the cafe. Do you want to eat mediocre food? I mean, you know, it's like everything goes together. Once, you know, it's called the Diderot effect. Have you heard of that?
No.
Diderot effect. So Diderot, publishes his encyclopedia. It's amazing. You know, it's great. And he starts to make a bit of money. So he said, the first thing I'm going to buy is a beautiful armchair where I'm going to ride on, you know, and I think you can see the chair, I don't know if it's Diderot or Voltaire, in the Carnavalet Museum, the History of Paris Museum, you have a chair like this, I forgot if it's Diderot or Voltaire, but there is one of these chairs, beautiful chair, and you can sit, relax, and you have this like thing to write. And then he looks around him, and he's like, oh my God, my apartment is a bit shabby. I need to enhance a bit of the rest then. So he started with the armchair, and then he said, I'm going to change the entire walling. Oh, and that room is nice now, but I need to change the rest of the apartment. And so the Diderot effect is like, you start to do something good for yourself. And it's like a virtuous circle that just continues, and you try to elevate every single thing that surrounds you. And I think Paris has got that effect to the scale of a city. And that's what makes it amazing. When people travel here, what I love about Paris is that what I see when I'm in the city center, of course, elevates me in a way.
So your definition of France is beauty, and everything starts with beauty. How do you think this have shaped the character of the French people? Is there a way to define the French?
So there is so many different French people. I mean, France is vast. Its geography is so variable from a place to another. We have to remember we're in a European context as well. I won't give you a class like all the way from the Romans, but basically when the Roman Empire collapsed, we landed on several geographical areas in France that were divided. And each of us got very different culture. The regions that we have today, people may know Burgundy. People may know like Bordeaux and the Aquitaine region. People may know Brittany, Normandy. Each of these regions has such a strong different character. And throughout history, probably none of them would have called themselves French. There is a unification process that took so much time to bind us all into one mold. And I think that French character takes into consideration this entire heritage from all of this diversity and we distilled it during the French Revolution when we imposed French language to everyone. And we started to erase a bit of these like variabilities throughout the regions, even though it comes back a little bit. You always hear about the Britons, you always hear about the Basque people, you always hear about the Corsicans. But there is something that French like understand. They have been added together. There is like a blend. You know, sometimes people feel like, especially because I have a lot of American guests. You know, Americans feel very American, wherever they come from. Like as soon as you're second generation, there is a flag in front of the door. There is like, everyone knows the anthem. I'm not sure every single French person knows the anthem, to be honest with you. But being French is acknowledging that you are part of something that is bigger than yourself. A place that guarantees your right as well. Being French, you feel you have been guaranteed rights from birth. We are taught from a very young age, we have guaranteed rights in this country, that no tyrant will be able to take over. And we are very protective of these. And I think starting from there, you know, you have a French person that will seek to match with the greatness we may have managed to achieve while we are tyrants, because like Versailles is not built in a democracy. The Louvre was not built in a democracy. I mean, maybe the pyramid, but like that's it. And we don't do these like big projects anymore as much as we used to. Maybe people can talk about the Bibliothèque Nationale, but well, this is something. But I think there is this idea that we match some greatness at some moment of our history and we never forget it. And that we have been united with our different cultures and we share this all together. When you go to a French restaurant, what does it mean? Your fondue comes from Savoie, your frogs from like the Loire Valley, you know.
So we're a country of diversity. But still, is there any keywords for the art de vivre à la Française, the French art of living?
I think we are a country of hedonists in a way. Epicurean, but Epicurean not in a bad way. I think people forget what the letter of Epicure to his student was, which is not to just throw yourself into parties all the time. It's just to enjoy what you have been given in the right proportion in every matter. And there is like this idea that we try to enjoy our time. We try to enjoy with what we eat. This is something like when you talk to so many French people, what we consume is an issue. This is something we talk about. We talk about the quality of the cheese seller we have in our neighborhood. We talk about the quality of the baguette we have eaten. We have a competition every year for baguette in Paris, a competition for croissant, a competition for... There is like maybe 20 or 30 articles like this on the bakery. Like how many competitions do we need? There is I'm taking guests to the best pâté of the world place. I mean, you are like pâté, which is like the worst part of the animal's meat, put together, mashed with a bit of pepper, wrapped in bread, cooked in the oven. It's delicious. It doesn't sound like it, but it is delicious. And there's a competition for that. And we have the same care for what we eat as we have for the culture we consume. There is an idea that we can reach excellence in what we do as well. Like when we do something, we try to do it to the best of our abilities. Sorry. You know, like some wineries go to like 3,000 different details to make a wine. You have like any sort of crafts that still exist in this country that are amazing. Woodworkers. And there is competition for them as well. Who has craftsman competition in the world? We have the MOF, Meilleur Ouvrier de France. And also you have this idea of excellence at the service of elevating the people. And I think we still have it, despite having been crushed by the industrial revolutions successively. We still kept that sense of craftsmanship, not only in food, but in all aspects. And it comes back more and more, I think.
So hearing you, France is the best place to live in. But is there, to be honest, is there any downside of the French? What would be their bad features? Something we would like to hide?
Oh, wow. We don't hide it. That's the issue. We don't hide what is bad.
Okay, so we can't wait now. We want to go on a tour with you. So let's imagine that we're in Paris, wherever we are located in the world. So imagine we're in Paris together, you, Ferit, guiding us. So where are you taking us? So let's start with a museum first.
Well, Orsay is very interesting. I love Orsay because you have in the same building a fight between modern and classic art. It's amazing. The building itself is a fight between modern and classic. You have a very strong parallel between the architecture of the Orsay Museum and its collections. It was a train station that was very modern, the first electric trains in the country. Les boîtes à sel. It was not that crazy. Huh? They were doing 1 mile with the electric train and it was a steam train taking from another chaser. But well, it's nice. Yet, at that moment of history, 1900, when they built it, you have this hatred towards like modernity. People wanted the Eiffel Tower down, so they hid the Orsay train station in a wonderful classical case because Museum of Orsay faces the Louvre and they want to insult the architecture of the Louvre. So you have this, and inside the Orsay Museum, you have got all the classical academism, and you can see these big, massive paintings, l'art pompier. And you have at the same time all of these artists, one movement after another, one generation after another, who broke the rules of the history of art and who went from classical painting to Impressionism to post-Impressionism, just throwing dashes of color on the paintings instead of trying to care about drawing. So I love Orsay for that. The Louvre. Do you know how old is the oldest piece in the Louvre?
I'm not going to tell you. You're going to tell me.
Good. You're a good politician already. So it's around 7,000 BC and it goes all the way to 1840s. I like to think they stopped like this. It's because of a revolution, more or less. It's the 1840s revolution. And it's also the birth of modern art that is more easy to cut, that is in Orsay. It's around the same time you have photography. So you have you have prehistorical items, historical items, all the way to photography, when you have something that's closer to truth when you capture it. And the Louvre, to me, is such an amazing place. I would love you to come to the Louvre. Of course, you can do the highlights route, an hour and a half, and you cover all the big shots.
So tell us let's think practically. So what day of the week would you go to the Louvre? What time of the day? What would be your perfect tour in the Louvre? Let's dive into the Louvre.
Well, if you go on your own, not on a tour, if you are anyone coming here, I would go in the evenings. Don't try to come at 9 a.m.
So what time does it close?
So on Wednesday and Friday night, it closes at 9 p.m.
Wow, people don't know that.
No, and people are at dinner at this hour. So people are at dinner and you're at this place. Don't try to rush in the morning to get to Mona Lisa alone. I can tell you only tour guides can manage to do that. By the time you arrive, if you came on your own, buying the earliest ticket you could
but
get.
We don't want to go on our own. We want to go with you.
So with me, I love these night tours. With me, you can go at 9 a.m. It's not an issue, But there is this idea you can cover the highlights and that's going to be nice already. But as soon as you enter, with me, with the guides I'm working with, what we do is we know a route. If you don't have any idea of what you do, we are going to give you something. And we're going to make sure you understand the complexity at an easy level to get inside a museum. I had this debate with one of my friends. Tour guides should not be like accountants. We have to provide the answers. We provide the answers. We tell you where to go and what to see. Accountants, you cannot do that. It's crazy. Now, if you go on your own, go on a Wednesday and Friday night. Go alone. Enjoy the silence. You have so many rooms that are alone. Lose yourself in it.
Yeah, but you need days to explore the Louvre. So if
Why days?
Tourist would save 2-3 hours in the Louvre. He doesn't have time to do more. So what would you do in 3 hours?
Well, there's so many things in the Louvre, right? There's so many things to discover in this world. You cannot be driven by FOMO, fear of missing out, just because otherwise we would run a marathon. It's 9 miles, 14 kilometers of pathways inside it, 35,000 pieces of art on display, 500,000 almost, 430,000 in the collections. There is more than 40 curators, something like this, 1,200 guards. What is it you want to catch? Or just here to take a picture in front of a painting? And go? To me, if you were to do this is why I only take guided tours since I became a tour guide. I really understand the impact of what a tour guide gives when you get inside a museum because they will tell you a story that you will not forget. An impactful story that can have a resonance on your life. You can be moved by a painting. My favorite thing is when people, you can see it. I see it in your eyes right now. You see? At some point, they open their eyes and they're like, oh, I get it. And so now, practical advice, maybe listen to a couple of podcasts. See if there is one piece of art that could move you. If you come with a tour guide, tell them what you like. If you like Egypt, go 3 hours in Egypt. We have the second largest collection in the world. You can do like 3 hours in the Louvre just about Egypt if you want to. You can do an hour and a half to 2 hours just on the Greeks. You like Leonardo and the Italian Renaissance? Well, we got a lot of the Italian paintings, thanks to Napoleon and others, of course. But we have got a lot of them. And you've got a coherent collection. This is what is so nice with the Louvre. Things can be very... You can spend 2 hours. There is a tour I give to people that come several times and say, oh, we have already done this. We do 2 hours just on Leonardo, 5 paintings. A third of the world's collection is inside the Louvre. So plenty of things to do. Very practical. Get a guide, do the highlights, and then explore a little bit for an hour or two on your own.
So yourself, you go almost every day to the Louvre, right? You know, the Pyramid of the Louvre. You're going to tell us about it. Where when it was built, there were a big controversy at the time. We were both young kids at that time.
You're not that old. Yeah. No worries.
Well,
my parents, the boomers.
Can you tell us about that story?
You know, it's kind of fun because my dad still thinks it's out of place when he comes from Turkey, and my mom thinks it's totally fine to have it when she's born in France. You know, why is it a controversy? Well, there was these political reasons first. At the moment it's done, France has a socialist president. And this is something, you know, you still have the USSR on the other side. And the Americans were about to sell us a power computer, I think from Dell, and they refused last minute. That computer was less powerful than a Nokia 3310, just for you to know.
Wow.
And what's interesting is that it was a supercomputer at the time, and they refused to sell it because we're a socialist country. Socialists had been demonized in the US, and we were too close to the USSR. For many reasons, and I don't think it's the only reason, but it was in the context. I'm making maybe a parallel that's a bit forced. We chose Yao Ming-pei. François Mitterrand chose Yao Ming-pei, I am Pei, the one who designed the National Gallery in Washington. And there was no public market, you know, it's not a public offering. It's like, we are going to take this. And then there is like, I think 11 or 12 people in the Louvre that said, okay, we're going to vote 6 or 7 versus 5, something like this, you know. So it's a small vote. And people that were against the project were like evicted from the vote, something like this. So it's kind of shady in the way it has been put.
Not very democratic at the time.
There was something interesting though, is that Jacques Chirac, the mayor of Paris at the time, before he became president and prime minister of Mitterrand, was supportive of the idea. So he kind of teamed up on a bipartisan idea that we need a wonderful entrance. And by the way, that pyramid today is the logo of the Louvre. I mean, otherwise it's just a Renaissance building, you know. So the Louvre has been the palace of the kings of France for 300 years. People like Rembrandt, Rubens lived in the Louvre and made paintings there in workshops. We have seen amazing hours of the history of France inside the Louvre. And now you get an American who is from Asian descent to build the most important building entrance in the country. This is why it's controversial. Then the design, it's too modern, people say, right? Yet, I love it. And the man was smart in the choosing of which company was going to do it. You know who made the glass of the Pyramid of the Louvre? Saint-Gobain. You know how it started, Saint-Gobain? 1680s. This is the manufactory we started to build the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles. And exactly, almost, 1681, almost exactly 300 years later, we have the Pyramid of the Louvre made by the same people that made the Mirrors of Versailles. And I think this is very powerful as a choice. And, you know, it ties us back to a lot of things, as well as France. Honestly, we love the antique Egyptian history. We have a man, I don't like to say we translated it. There is a man called Jean-François Champollion who managed to decipher the Rosetta Stone, thanks to which we can understand 3,000 years of history and how it shaped it. You know, they have in Cairo, and we can read it because we translated the Rosetta Stone. They have in Cairo, in the museum, the body of Ramses II. And we know it's Ramses II because we can read the cartouche that's on his tomb. So you have like this very strong, you know, connectivity between all of these elements that makes it controversial. Yet I really like to have that pyramid there because it ties us to what we love, which is the history of France.
Fascinating. So let's cross the Seine River, cross the Latin Quarter, go up to the Sorbonne, and I know that it's.
Are you like the Latin Quarter? It's kind of fun because I like the Latin Quarter area.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun place. You know, this is the tackiest place on earth, probably. You have like this range between St. Michael Square. I love Saint-Michel Square. You know, 1998, France wins its very first World Soccer Cup. And there is a guy completely drunk that went to put the jersey number 10 on the face of Saint Michael, killing the devil. And so I thought it was very lovely. When I was like 9 years old, I loved it when I saw it. So between that Saint Michael Square and Notre Dame, basically, you have the lower part of Latin Quarter, the one that's closer to the Seine River. I'm so sorry for all the restaurants over there, but you should never eat there. It's so touristy. You know, it's like, but it's nice, medieval street. This is why it's nice. And then you go up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I want to lead you to the Sorbonne.
Yeah, and the Sorbonne, you know, the Sorbonne University. It's lovely. I mean, the building there, like 1600s, I think it's Richelieu who redid the facade of what we have got today. He's buried in there. Richelieu, you may not know him. I mean, if we are talking to American guests or anyone listening that is not French, Richelieu is not going to talk too much to you. But Richelieu, if you know The Three Musketeers, is a very, very famous French novel. I love it. He's the bad guy at the beginning, the one that like has a sense of the state that is against the Musketeers' will, something like this. So Richelieu, a very important man, the one that like sponsored theaters in France. And Sorbonne, I really love that university. I didn't study there, but when I was a kid, you know, it was before all of these controls everywhere. As a student, I was in a high school in Lavoisier. It's a little high school over there. Lavoisier was a chemist. He said nothing disappears, everything transforms. You know, the father of modern organic chemistry. And my high school was inside this building. So yeah, in a lovely neighborhood. And when you go to Sorbonne University, I could go when I was in high school. I could go visit their wonderful, several hundred years old libraries.
Get into the university?
Yes, everything was open. I used to go to Henri IV, the best high school, with Louis Le Grand. We would visit each other. It's not possible anymore. But it was so nice to go into these places. There is what I love about the Sorbonne University. You know, it's called after Robert de Sorbonne. And there is this idea. It's one of the old. This is the oldest university of Paris today. I think it's from the 1240s. There was the University of Paris starts officially the 1st of January 1200, and so, you know, university is kind of free in France. Nothing is free. I mean, now that I work, I know all where my taxes go to educate the next generation. I hope, and I'm very happy of this. I really love that system anyway. But when you're a kid, you don't need to pay. So no matter where your family is, in terms of where in the social ladder, you've got a chance to go and study somewhere, and which is not a given in every country. So I really like that. And this is one of, you know, the Sorbonne University started because Robert de Sorbonne was the head priest of a tiny chapel called the Saint Chapel on the island, not too far from Notre Dame, where a king called Louis IX, St. Louis, had brought back 3 relics. A piece of the true cross, a nail, and the crown of thorns that were like used during the Passion of Christ, supposedly. I'm not too much into relics, but if you are, people believe in it. And right now the crown is inside the Notre Dame Cathedral. Well, eventually, instead of making a lot of money, he decided to give every wealth that he could get. And you know, being the head priest in a place that has so much relics, you're going to get a nice salary. He gave a lot of money to start a college so people could come and sleep basically and study almost for free. Le Collège de Sorbonne. And it became bigger and bigger and bigger with time. And then it became a university. University is feminine, so Université la Sorbonne. And so on these systems that say that the alumni basically will pay for the newcomers, which is kind of nice. This is like what France is based on today in a way since the French Revolution and Napoleon. But like we took back some of these origins. How nice is that? And you have these beautiful buildings, of course, old winding streets. This is medieval. Everyone should go to Latin Quarter. Maybe just eat some desserts. There is lovely pastry shops along the way. Odette, the best croissant of Paris 2018 on Place Maubert. Maison d'Isabelle, amazing if I can do a bit of promotion for them. There is Laurent Dubois, meilleur ouvrier de France, MOF. such a stunning collection of cheese. You know nougat, you know, there's like these honey. He does one with cheese that is so good. You have like this, you know, Gouda. He grinds it, puts nuts in it, put it back together, and so the fat of the nuts gets into the cheese, which makes it soft and creamy at the same time. It's a bit pungent. It's amazing. So you have these like amazing food items in the like sprinkled across the Latin Quarter, which is so nice.
You make me starving. So let's speak a little bit about, you know, restaurants. So I understand that you wouldn't have lunch or dinner in the Latin Quarter. Fine.
Yes.
But could you recommend one or two of your best restaurants in Paris?
One of two of my best restaurants in Paris. You know, there is one dish that I eat everywhere. I can be an expert in tartare. I'm so sorry for the vegans. And I tried to be vegan and vegetarian at some point of my life. And right now I'm not anymore. So tartare, you know what it is? You know, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So tartare is raw meat, right?
It's a raw
meat.
beef. Most of the
raw
time.
beef.
Yeah.
But you can also get raw horse in Paris, which is kind of very nice.
Okay.
Which doesn't happen too much anymore because like there is not too many boucheries chevalines anymore.
So where can we have the best tartare in Paris?
So you have so many different places. Many bistros give it. You know, there is one of my favorite places, Les Tontons, and they are specialized in this. And you have like 30 different tartares with blue cheese, with basil, with Italian style, with Parmigiano. My favorite one is the French style, capers, an egg yolk that is not broken, raw as well on top of the.
And do you like it raw? Or a little bit fried?
No. I don't do the aller-retour, the return trip. We call it like this. You know, they psh, and then they give it back to you. There is this caramel crust on it. But well, now, more seriously.
We should launch a podcast about tartare.
Why not? I tartared my way through Paris. So there is one restaurant I really like because it's simple and it's honest and it's authentic at the same time. It's called Les Philosophes. And the man who owns this shop has got several restaurants all around. And so they have the list of all the producers, where the meat, where the wine comes from at the end of their menu. You can order it yourself if you want to. They have the list, almost the phone number of the winemakers. You like the wine there? Order it. Mm-hmm. And so they have like all these simple French dishes, but cooked with amazing ingredients. So I would recommend Les Philosophes. That's a go-to. They have a green soup that I wouldn't try, but their onion soup is so amazing. You can see the bags of onions coming, so you know they cooked it the proper way.
Les Philosophes, right?
Les Philosophes.
Where is it?
It's in the Marais.
Okay.
It's in the Marais. You have plenty of places in the Marais that are kind of good. I like it. You know, because it's a medieval neighborhood as well. I love the falafels of L'As du Falafel. That's not too far as well from it. Now,
okay, fair.
Yeah.
Vas-y.
Enough? Yeah, because there is several restaurants next to Musée d'Orsay that are amazing as
Go
well.
ahead. One more.
La Fontaine de Mars is nice. Mm-hmm. Not too far from it, you have
Rue
like...
Saint-Dominique.
Yeah. And so you have like a very nice quality of bistro, and it's just close enough from the Eiffel Tower to have a certain population coming in there, but far enough to have quality food in there. So it's kind of, you have to pick your places depending on where you are. And there's a couple of coffees that offer food as well. Next to Louvre, I go to Café Verlet. It is from 1880. You enter, you have this perfume of coffee coming to your face. And then you sit, they still brew, and you have your dessert coming on the table, as well as your croque monsieur. It's amazing.
So Ferit, 2 very quick questions. A place in Paris that is over touristic, ultra crowded, but that you absolutely must see.
I would say the Eiffel Tower. You see, it's a must see, honestly. And on top of that, if you have got a tour on this, it's like the Eiffel Tower is such an amazing building. I love it. It's overcrowded. I hate the lines. And so you should go around at night. There is nothing more magical than the Eiffel Tower sparkling in Paris, honestly. You have several like piers, like next to the river. Sit there, take a blanket. Normally, I think it's illegal to drink anymore, but you can always have a bottle of wine and nobody will tell you anything, honestly. Sit there,
Good
relax, and have a... You know what I do? Museums are going to kill me. I put champagne in thermos. You know a thermos bottle? I put champagne in it. I used to. And so you can have your glass of sparkling champagne when you are looking at the Eiffel Tower, let's say. I won't go more on that tip.
Question number 2. A place that is poorly visited and on which you could give us a tip to better visit it.
Montmartre is poorly visited.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a highlight.
Yeah, because people just go at the top. People just go at the very top of Montmartre. And you know, they stop. Then they go down a little bit. They go to the Wall of Love, which is nice. And then you see them going back towards the park facing the Sacred Heart Church. And in a way, people don't... I'm always alone with a couple of my fellow guides, like in the back streets of Montmartre, on the southern side exposure, walking down the Abbesse. You know, there is a street, La Rue des Abbesses, where you have 3 bakeries on 200 meters that have got the best baguette of Paris at different times. Amazing crepe place, amazing macaron place. I love Pierre-Jean. And then you have like this little place where Picasso, whether you like him or not, at his workshop, and you can go at the back, your little windmill. There is like these little places that are amazing. So Montmartre, you know, just don't go only at the Sacred Heart and the bottom. Like, just explore a bit more of the hill and lose yourself into these winding streets, because people don't do it enough.
It's true that people concentrate in the same 2-3 little streets and little places.
Yeah.
But when you step away 1 or 2 streets, it's empty.
And I would say go around 6 p.m. because you have a lot of wine bars that are around there. And you can do amazing, very affordable wine tastings. And there is a place that also, you know, the catacombs. So people go to the catacombs, but they only go there and they miss out on Rue Daguerre. You know Rue Daguerre?
Of course.
I love it. There is like you know, you have like a guy who is number 2 sommelier of France over there. There's a little wine cellar, and that place looks like nothing, but it's amazing. You have amazing wine, cheese, dessert. You just walk there. It has been close to the cars on top of that recently. So it's a full pedestrian street, and people don't go there because they don't see it. It's just next to a metro exit. It looks ugly. You could feel back in the 1980s at the entrance of the street. And soon after, boom, you've got this lovely, walkable market street.
So just, let's say 1 or 2 tips, final tips. 1 book or 1 novel that you recommend your clients or your guests to read before they travel to France. So
reading... There is one that is for English speakers, because I mostly deal with English speakers. 1,000 Years Annoying the French. I think it's Russell, the man who wrote it. 1,000 Years Annoying the French. And it's the French co-English relationship, but you have the entire coverage of the history of France in there at the same time. So it's kind of fun. And it's written like, you know, from a British perspective on the French history. So I like also these cross perspectives. I recommend movies. You know, I recommend movies to watch. I recommend to watch like movies about, I don't know, Louis XIV. There is some good one, La Reine Margot, or like Cyrano de Bergerac, even if it's dubbed. You can watch the movie. Whoever the artist today is controversial, but it was such a great performance. You have Is Paris Burning? If you are ready for a 3 hours movie in black and white about the liberation of Paris, go for it. It's like, I love the Second World War movies. You know, when I was a kid in Normandy, like when I was going to Normandy on vacation, one of my uncle owns a sawmill to cut wood. And so I loved when he gave me the metal detector to remove the bullets that were like trapped inside the wood. So I would take a chisel and a hammer, remove them, and I'm a big fan of these. So watch movies about the Second World War in Paris, Monuments Men, or so on. La Grande Vadrouille, French movies. This is so amazing.
That's fascinating. And you mentioned 1,000 Years Annoying the French by Stephen Clarkey. But your tips and your recommendations, we will write them down on this description on the podcast. Are you ready for a quick quiz?
Go for it.
What piece of music connects you to France?
The Gymnopedia. The first thing that comes to my mind is the Gymnopedia. It's like it's Eric Satie, and it's like music that was composed at the beginning of the 20th century. Dum 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 dum. And like, it's the type of music you want to listen on a Sunday morning. You have done so many things that week, and you listen to it, you have a little coffee, and you're watching at the view of Paris, maybe on a terrace, actually. Yeah. Do you know this?
Now I know. This is so romantic.
Isn't it nice?
Mm-hmm.
And this is so French. This is like not too sad. You're in between. And when I listen to this, I'm like, oh, wow. I enjoy being here. Just being here.
So where would you be listening to that in Paris on a Sunday morning? Home or
No.
else?
There is, I told you not to go to Latin Quarter, but there is one place I love.
No, you told us not to go
eat
in the Latin Quarter.
So there is a place, and I love that place. It's a cream puff place. You know cream puffs? And so it's called Odette. And it's a bit touristy now, and especially that location. But you go on a Sunday morning at 8 or 9, they're already open. And they have a tiny terrace. You order, get one cream puff and one espresso. And you have just facing you the Notre Dame Cathedral. The sky is blue, the trees are green. The pavement, you have this nice smell of the street of Paris, which is the smell of a bakery nearby, cooking. And you hear that butter that caramelizes in the oven. And so that's amazing. And that's where I would be. Or I'm on the terrace of Française. A lot of et today. So Française is a boat. It's a restaurant. It's on top of a boat facing the Eiffel Tower. And that's nice.
On the Seine River.
On the Seine River. And that terrace is like you feel you're just far enough to be cut from the world. You have the hustling, bustling, Eiffel Tower, 5 for €1, whatever. People sending you beer, cigarettes. You're like, what is this place in the Eiffel Tower? And you're up there, and all of a sudden, the flow of the river pieces you down, calms you down. And you have the Eiffel Tower, whether it's raining or not. You can listen to this under the rain or under the sun. It's the same. It's nice.
About French food. What is your favorite dish? Do we stick on the tartare, or do you have another option?
I have another option. Do I have another option? Well, because tartare, honestly, when I hear some people coming from Asian countries, they say, what is French food? It's just meat that you cook and you put some vegetables on the side. I don't agree with that completely. I love duck-based product. I think there is that culture in France to eat all sorts of animals. I'm so sorry for this, but frogs, snails, and the duck is something I don't find in every country around us.
That's very French.
And what
French.
I love is a cured duck. I love the cured. I love the magret de canard, so the duck breast.
So are you more confit or magret?
That's people have killed for less. Yeah. It's like no, okay. So I'm more confit, I think. Even though making a magret is so easy, guys. We can talk about magret next time if you want to, but it's the easiest French dish you can make. And what matters is the fat. Fat is so tasty on the magret. But a duck confit is so nice. A real nice duck confit.
So the next persons who will be sitting on your seat will be Corinne Ménégot. She's the head of the Parisian, which is the Paris tourist office. And the next one would be Ayam Sureau, who is certainly the most important contemporary philosopher. Do you have any questions that I could ask them for Ayam and Corinne?
To me, for the head of tourism of Paris, I would ask the question on how are we going to manage the end of mass tourism? I think this is like a real question to tackle, because right now it has already started in a way, and we start to see less big groups, more private. And there is also this idea that we cannot fly planes as much as we used to. And I think we've already reached a peak in terms of consumption of planes. And so I think there will be that transition. How an institution like the Louvre can live without 10 million visitors a year. How an institution like Versailles can maintain itself without it. Is it only the French people are going to maintain it? You know, you were asking me a bit earlier, why do people come to Paris? The second thing you asked me is like, what is the best restaurant? You didn't ask me, by the way, a non-touristy restaurant, isn't it?
I should.
You should.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't think there is non-touristy restaurant in a way in Paris. I think Paris doesn't live without visitors. Since when the Eiffel Tower was built, 1889, we had 25 million visitors to Paris. In 1900, for the World Fair of 1900, 11 years after the Eiffel Tower is built, we sold, imagine the people, they're like, oh my God, last time they built the Eiffel Tower, what are they going to do this time? There is no TV. There's only some radios that just started in 1898, so you don't know. You just read it. What are you going to do in Paris? I want to be there. We had 52 million tickets sold. We were only 43 million citizens in this country. Can you imagine what it means? 52 million citizens in the same city. And since then, there is a couple of wars, but Paris has not emptied itself. The only Second World War and COVID, that was it. Otherwise, Paris has always been visited. And we cannot have such a scene in terms of food, in terms of fashion, in terms of museum.
I am now.
And I am
Cyril, who will be sitting on your seat eventually.
For the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the consumption of information is going to influence the way the tourism is organized or planned in the next years, knowing that people now use AI to do it, knowing that people, what are going to people seek at this age, at this moment of history, in terms of culture? My grandparents wanted to take a picture in front of the monuments and done. People want experiences today. What are people going to want when they travel in the next few years? That's my question.
I think you already have the answer.
I don't know. No, I really don't know. I have my answer, but
well, hearing you, I would say relationships.
I would say, yeah, you're right. I think people are going to try to get like this. But I'm dying to have the philosopher's answer.
Ferit, a quote to finish in French or English, as you like.
André Malraux, le plus court chemin de l'homme à l'homme, c'est la culture. The shortest path from human to human is culture.
Ferit Öngür, merci beaucoup. Thank you for sharing your passion with us.
My pleasure.